So, hi, honey. Hi, guys. How's it going? I hope everybody is doing well. It's okay if you're late because the stream usually starts 5 minutes after I say it's going to, just so everybody's ready. I hope that everybody's doing well today. How is everyone? Just figured I'd say hello and let's see who all's in here. So today, obviously, I know I said I was going to talk about Lake Inlay, but what I'd actually like to talk about is the Will Smith slap. And so I'm going to spend the next 2 hours. I've made about a 50 slide PowerPoint about aggression and how it applies to fish. So we're going to break down the slap and we're going to see how that would actually play out in different species of fish. If a male threatened another male fish's female fish, if a pair was bonded and a rogue male threatened them, especially in a community tank. So I hope that you guys are excited for that and that that sounds more fun than talking about all the species that exist in Lake Inlay. So we're going to do that for the next 2 hours. Did I get anybody? No? All right. Happy April Fools, guys. So we are going to talk about Lake Inlay. I could care less about all that other stuff. Rajul, hi. Regina, hello. Craig, William, Luigi. Is that what it is? Luigi is better. Shell, what's up? Davo. Also, we got a number and then some hertz. Hello from Romania. Congrats to everyone who survived another daylight savings time last weekend. Yeah, that wasn't how we roll over here. We do it at a different time. Yeah, let's see here. Sandy, welcome. Good to see you. David Rayner, Kara C, making floating planters with pool noodles. That's cool. Well, speaking of floating planters, that's something that I'm thinking about adding to the little aquascape tank that I have. It's a Lake Inlay style tank. And, you know, the one of the really amazing and cool things about Lake Inlay in Myanmar, which is formerly known as Burma, it's the artist formerly known as Burma, is the really neat thing is that there are these woven islands, very similar to Lake Titicaca or Mexico City before they covered the whole lake with a city, which is that there are these floating reeds like cattails and other like long grassy plants that they get broken and then they float and they form these mats, and there's floating islands is what they call them. But in the lake, it's a very, very special lake ecologically. And so if we have any questions, this is my favorite biotope, hands down. I'm just fascinated by it. It would be a lifelong dream to go there. And it's this lake in Myanmar, which, you know, you've got India on one side and, well, Bangladesh, then India. And you've got all the continental stuff that comes with that, where it's crashing into Asia. The Indian subcontinent is smashing into China and Central Asia. And that's what caused the Himalayas to lift up, right? And then from that center of the continent, there's mountains coming kind of all the way down to the coast, spider webbing out from the Himalayas. And then right next to the northern region of, you know, let's get a map up. That'll probably help some people also. And also let me say hello to Susan, Mark, Chris, Rachel, the Yeti, what's up? Your average keeper, what's up? The Nano Aquarium guy, Mary Page, good to see you, my dear friend. Much love to you. ABC Aquatic Biotope Creations, A Ticket to Space, and let's see here. Who else do we have? The Element, the 186 Element, Geek Boy, Paul McCarthy, welcome. Mystery Snail Guardians, welcome to you as well. And Dee Dee, welcome. And good to see you. thank you so much for being on that stream the other night. I had a good time. I think a lot of people enjoyed it. So I think that was great. Now, let me pull up a map of Myanmar because it's a little hard to describe since it's so, what's the word? I guess the word would be, it's weird shape and it's very surrounded by a lot of other countries. So that's not a word, but that's what it is. And it touches a lot of other areas. So let me pull up Myanmar, and then I'll get this up on your guys' screen. It's a pretty good sized country too. And Lake Inlay is kind of in the northern center of it. So let's pull that up, share it so y'all can see it. Share screen. Sorry that takes so long. I know there's kind of a delay, but so here you got India, obviously. Whoa. Then you got China up here. You've got Malaysia. So it actually, see this long piece of it? It actually goes down the Malaysian peninsula. Down here, you got Indonesia. You got Borneo. You got Sulawesi, the island shaped like a K, Papua New Guinea, the Philippines. And then all in this area, you've got Vietnam, which is another very strange shaped country. If you look at it, it's obviously when it was split from the North and South during the Vietnam War, you can kind of see how that would happen. I mean, they're completely different ethnic groups up here than down here. And what's interesting is that there was in Cambodia, there was the Khmer Rouge Empire. And way back when the Khmer original empire controlled like all of the lands kind of on this entire area here, and had influence all the way up into China and Yunnan province, all the way over to parts of India and Kolkata and stuff like that. And then you also had, I guess you kind of had a holdout in Thailand. There's always been a Thai monarchy, even if the Khmer and then later the Khmer Rouge was the military and communist takeover of Cambodia. But in any case, so you've had Vietnam, Laos, Thailand, Cambodia, but touching Myanmar, you've got technically Malaysia. I mean, down here, even though this is Thailand, it's the Malaysian peninsula. So all the species you find all the way down here, they've been severed throughout the ice ages. All this, all the way out here, was connected. If you go back like a million years, off and on through ice ages. If you drop the sea level, it's very shallow all through some of these regions. And it's a very small strait that connects things there. So it's kind of interesting in that sense. And I don't know who owns this island. Oh, okay. They're just part of the Andaman Islands. So okay. But yeah, you can see there's the islands down here. So there's some interesting biotopes down in here that are very, very jungly, like, right on the equator. And then when you're above that, though, you've got the heart of kind of similar to Thailand weather and stuff, but there's mountain ranges that kind of split up all these countries essentially. And in the center of Myanmar runs this river, and it runs all the way down and out. And you've got big river deltas here, and the fish that are found basically in the regions over in Laos and Thailand over here are completely different in some groups of fish than what's found in here. Over in the Lake Inlay area of Myanmar, you've got no real catfish. That's what's missing when you look for them, what's native to the region. And so if you've heard of Mandalay, like Mandalay Bay Casino and stuff like that, you know, here is that, and it's a large city there. And as you follow this main river, this is where most people live, is either off one of these two rivers in the country. And then you've got this here, which is actually a reservoir. If you look at it, I have no idea how you would pronounce that, but the thing, can't say it, reservoir. And same with a lot of this other stuff. So this is all where the main government controls things pretty easily. They use this river, and they use it to control things. Well, over here, here's one of the natural lakes in the country. If you notice, there aren't any huge natural lakes in this country. There's that reservoir there, and other than that, you have to get up into, you go up through the Irrawaddy River, and you get up into these regions, and you get all the way up into the northern part of the country. Come on, why is this thing not scrolling right? And up in this part, this is a total no man's land. If you see up in here, we have no idea to this day the species that really live here. I mean, yes, people go here. There are groups of people that can be found out here farming and living off the land and doing stuff. But really, this is a smuggler zone. This is a dangerous area. And same with the Thai border. Historically, we didn't get in to Myanmar all the way until really 2006. That's when it kind of opened up to the outer world, and the military government kind of let people in. And that is why things like the celestial pearl danio, the erythromicron, the rummy nose rasbora, not tetra, rasbora, the rummy nose rasbora, which is called the sabua resplendens, the glass perch, all these interesting fish, the red Inlay loach, the rosy loach, all these little critters were not seen by the outside world. And I just think that's kind of fascinating, that they were not seen by the outside world. So here you've got another reservoir, but then in kind of the central, if so, let me zoom out again, kind of the central part of the country, right, dead smack in the center, but divided from the rest of the country by some mountains right here that are not inhabited really. You've got this big valley, and you've got Lake Inlay proper, which actually can flood all the way out to like this size. The whole lake is actually it's actually a big flood plain kind of thing. So all these side areas you see, unless you see a little picture here, like you can see there's tourist attractions and things here, and you can see that this region is predominantly Buddhist, and there's a town on the southern part of the lake that has a fair number of people, and then there is mostly monasteries and small little enclaves most other places. But now there's starting to be some tourism on the lake, so you get places like these little resorts that cater to Westerners. And what's happening now is the culture that was well known on this lake for really thousands of years is kind of performative. They kind of do things to show off for tourists a little bit more than for the sake of survival. A lot of them stop doing things like for survival benefit on its own. So the other thing I want to mention is that this whole area over here This is the Shan region. It's known as Shan over here. This whole chunk here. And the Shan region was for years, and arguably now, I've had people who live there tell me, oh, it's not like that anymore. And then I'll read news stories that say, like, 450,000, bags of narcotics found. So they grow poppies all throughout this region. And this region here, for years and years, was known as the Golden Triangle right here. And the bulk of it was in Myanmar. And so regardless of the crazy strict military junta government, this region has always been controlled by local warlords. There's also the Wa region adjacent to it. And then over here in Thailand, this region kind of becomes up by Chiang Mai, has traditionally been a bit sketchy as well. Laos, also the border of Laos, this part of China. This is why these countries from Vietnam, Laos, Thailand, Bangladesh, and Myanmar, they all get flooded with arms throughout history for the last 100 years through China. You can see what a network China is. Hong Kong's over here. And then the U.S. tends to, and colonial powers, so British and things like that, they tended to have holdouts. You had Singapore down here, and then for a long time, the British controlled Myanmar itself. But that all changed and was really over by the end of World War II. But let's look at the actual lake itself. I just wanted to show you that what's interesting about it is it's pretty isolated. Even though there's a big old city adjacent, there's this mountain range, and we're talking the legend, I think we're talking like about 75 miles or so here. So it's a good distance from, even though that this is the populated corridor, it's a good distance, and it's kind of not the main river of the country and the big populated areas here. They've grown towards it, but before, traditionally, the populated areas were hugging the river very closely, or the secondary river. It's really the third river. But there's very interesting biotopes all through here. This is where you get like Odessa barbs and a lot of the, tinfoil, spanner, T-barbs. A lot of the fish that you also find in India and Bangladesh also can be found coming into this side of the country. And then from this side of the country, you get all the interesting fish that come out of like Vietnam, all the paradise fish, the gouramis, all that kind of stuff has had an influence. But oddly enough, there's big catfish and stuff in the main river here. But oddly enough, Lake Inlay in this little valley has a lack of fish with barbels that are very big. So there's some loaches, and they're all pretty unique to the area in that they have very small barbels. And we'll look at my aquarium too that's set up now, because I have 6 species in there right now that are all from Lake Inlay exclusively. But in the surrounding regions, just the difference of this lake right here, if you go right over here, you can get celestial danios are not technically from the lake itself. They were discovered somewhere down in this region over here. And they have since found them in the creeks surrounding the region. Now, erythromicrons, they're found actually in the creeks that attach to the lake and everything. And the cool thing geologically about this formation and this country and, well, this region is that it's all limestone. It's all a karst formation. And the limestone obviously is going to raise the TDS in the water. It's going to raise the pH, so it's alkaline. And so the water that falls here doesn't really flow out anywhere except for down into this reservoir, which is man-made here. So it doesn't historically go anywhere. And this valley has not been connected by a river or a way in or out for at least a few 100,000 years of ice ages. There was one ice age that was severe enough that there probably was a point where water levels were high enough and rivers were flowing and the area was flooded enough, just looking at the geology. But these fish have been alone for probably 400, 500,000 years, evolving into what they are, kind of stuck in this area, coming from a combination of what got there from both sides of the country. And the sandstone, or I mean the limestone, you would expect that then, okay, so the water's alkaline, right? No, it's actually neutral. And that's because the bottom of the lake is so thoroughly covered in plants and vegetation, which is just kind of interesting to me. So it's neutral water generally, but you'll find pockets that go all the way up to 9 pH, where the water's sitting on limestone in an area, or if there's like sand made of limestone sand. And then if there's a boggy region or a marshy region, those regions then can be all the way down to 5.5 pH. So the swings in pH are just insane. Very cool to me anyways. Hey, Mick M, what's up? I hope you're doing well. So yeah, we're talking about Lake Inlay tonight. Exactly. Let me mute this. Sorry, I still had my phone. Aquaballs is oh, nice. Oh, wow. He says he's getting 50 Japanese rice fish from a mixed color colony. Right on. That's really cool. Yeah. So what I want to show you guys is some images of what Lake Inlay looks like now. I want to show you guys a little YouTube video I found. So we'll look at that. I'm going to mute it because I don't know if the music's copyright controlled or whatever, but it might be. So if you want, I can Tibetan throat sing, or Myanmar throat sing. Yeah, actually, aquamate, a lot of species do live in the 9 pH water. In fact, a lot of the fish there are known for their resilience, which is really cool. 9.0 is a bit rough for some of those that traditionally like the other end of the pH scale, but there are fish there, and we'll go through the fish, which is pretty cool. The other thing that happens that humans have done for thousands of years to the lake is like I said, they've built those reed mats that are floating islands, and they build these floating islands and houses on stilts. So when the water level changes with the monsoon season, they live there, and their garden raises and lowers, but everything's grown hydroponically, like not like a modern hydroponics, but there's not soil in a lot of cases. They do grow things in soil also outside the lake, but there are groups that survive solely off of the fish in the lake and birds that they catch, and gardens that are grown literally floating on the lake, which is really cool. So let's get that little video queued up for y'all. Share screen. Aquamate, thank you so much for becoming a member. I really, really, truly appreciate that. That means the world to me. Welcome. Seriously, guys, the memberships mean a lot. I don't know what YouTube's doing, but they're messing with something right now, and I've noticed that even though we've got lots of people watching and everybody seems to be tuned in the same as normal, the numbers are not equaling the same income. So I think they're changing something in the distribution of who gets what for what category, you know. And it actually depends too if you list your stuff as, is it visible to kids, is it visible to, is it made for kids, is it pet category, is it this category, is it that category. That changes how your income breaks down quite a bit, actually. So I just wanted to say that the memberships have been something that they've kept very stable, and I've really found that you guys are invaluable to, at least I know there's always going to be, well, not always, but you know, that month or a month ahead, there's going to be X amount of money for the fish room and for a trip to something. Like, I'd love to go to the Triple Crown, but right now it's not in the cards. I'm saving up though, and hopefully that changes. But yeah, so let's see here. So let's get you guys rolling on this video, and I think we can we do this and then it'll, well, no, that didn't work. It made things worse. Let's get that bigger. So here, I hope you guys, let me make sure you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. Yeah, you are. Okay, good. So here you can see they've got all the Buddhist temples. Now there are Hindu people there, but mostly there's Muslim, Christian, and predominantly Buddhist. In this region, it's almost all Buddhist. That has changed throughout history, back and forth though. But here are those floating fields. That's all man-made. That wouldn't be out in the lake if it weren't for decades of agriculture and cultivation. So imagine all the fish here too, because all these people live, and look at all the plants in the water. I just want to point that out. But the lake is famous for the fishermen on the lake, fishermen and women, and these very long hold boats. You can see another little floating island over here. And this is all touristy stuff where they bring the tourists out, and then at sunset or whatever, certain times of day, they fish using these big conical nets, or basically baskets, and they juggle them, and they steer the boat a very unique way using a pole that pushes along the bottom. So the lake only averages 14 feet deep in the center, and 7 feet deep in the dry season around over half the lake around the edges. So people live in these houses like this in this raised area. And like I said, now there's electricity and modern things here, but it's still very, very reliant on the lake. And because of that, they know that they need to keep the lake rather pristine. You can see they're gathering like some sort of root or tuber there to eat. And this is traditionally a very, very, very poor region, unfortunately. And that is why you see things like the use of the narcotics trade. Also, if you've seen the people with the gold hoops around their neck, the giraffe neck women, as they used to be called, they are also from this region and into the Thai region too. But the Shan people and the I think they're called the Inlation. They are big on that. Now, what they're doing here is they're making silk out of lotus flowers, and that silk is the most expensive silk in the world. Even to a Westerner coming there with, say, American dollars, it would be $800 to $1,200 to pay someone for one of those silk, lotus silk shawls, or they're really, really beautiful and very, very soft and very, very, very fine, like spider web silk almost. But again, this is part of the lake, so it's very flooded. You can see where you could get into real, that pH could be 9, but with all the vegetation and decay of plant matter and fish and poop from fish, it turns into nitrates. It turns into all sorts of things. Now, for a short period, they were actually spraying their crops, and it was getting into the lake, and that was affecting things. But for the most part, they've always been too poor to afford that. And then now there's an understanding that whatever you use on your garden is going to impact the fish catch, the this, the that, the whole ecosystem. But I've always thought it's amazing. And these people stand on the front. There we go. This is the most famous thing they do, which is that those are fishing baskets, and they throw them at schools of fish. And then they steer the boat with a pole that they wrap around their ankle. Like their ankle stabilizes this big, like 20-foot long pole. So I just wanted to share with you guys kind of the human geography and culture of Myanmar for a minute before we looked at some of the fish. Let's see here. Get out of here. All right, guys. So yeah, pretty cool spot. Let's see here. Shade, what are you talking about? Reminds me of the floating markets around Bangkok. Yeah, I mean, definitely there is that southeastern Asian, feel to it. It's also very similar to some of the Amazonian regions, not by jungle and things like that, but just the sense of the water is life and people living on the water. In Bangladesh, there's actually people that live completely on the river, and they are, completely dependent on the river. They're actually called the river people, and it's kind of crazy because the people in Bangladesh, they had nowhere to go when trouble hit and things. The population was too dense on land, and these people, all the way back like 1,000 years ago, took to the water, which is, I think, is cool. So let me pull up on my phone, and we're going to look at my aquarium, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about the fish, and then we'll pull up pictures of species of fish and plants and things. But I've got plants and fish that are already from Lake Inlay and the surrounding, that Shan region. That's what I have recreated here. So it's not so much Lake Inlay itself, but more a stream somewhere around Lake Inlay where you would get even more vegetation, a little more oxygenated or flowing water rather than oxygen depleted water like the main lake has. So kind of interesting. Brian says, we had Stiltsville in Florida, but not sure if people are still living there. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, I think there was a time when there was a pretty good population out on Key West on stilts, and there was a big hurricane that killed a whole lot of people, like 1,000 people or something, around the turn of the century. And it changed everything, and I don't think they rebuilt after that. It had to do with bringing the railroad down there for trying to get tourists to come down there eventually, and also the Caribbean trade, Caribbean, whatever you want to call it. All right. So let me pull up the camera here and stop talking about non-fish stuff. And by the way, how are we doing? Are you guys finding this interesting? Is this okay? Welcome, Meep. Good to see you. Also, welcome, Alec the Nice. Good to see you as well. So let's see here. StreamYard. Don't be difficult. Come on, you. Come on, phone. You can do it. You can make it if we try. Just the two of us. You and I. Let's see here. I'm going to start from the beginning, so we're a little behind. Ticket to Space. You haven't missed a whole lot. I went over the human elements and the geographic elements of the lake, and then we watched a short little video on it. We haven't talked about the fish themselves yet, other than mentioning that the fish don't have barbels in the lake, which is weird. Now, what's really interesting is that there are a ton of gastropods, whereas some lakes in the region of Southeast Asia have a ton of crustaceans, like Sulawesi. There's like 68 species of shrimp in one lake on Sulawesi. Yet in Lake Inlay, there are very few, but there are something like 38 species of gastropods. So like little scuds and little bugs, and well, I mean, we'd call them little water bugs, but they're small little triclops and scuds and seed shrimp and daphnia. Very, very rich in the little teeny food sources. And yes, I will show you guys. Actually, let me show you some underwater pictures too. Oh, right on the Yeti. Good. I'm glad you found some. Let's see here. So, Lake Inlay biotope. So actually, for several years, there's been quite a few biotope tanks submitted into international biotope competitions. I've actually been thinking about it to show or to mimic this region, because it's such an incredible, like, it has more endemic species than any other part of mainland Asia trapped in that one little lake, which is just kind of odd when you look at everything. I mean, it is in a valley and all that, but it's just interesting that they evolve so differently there. Let me share this page with you guys so you can see it. But the lake has an amazing amount of aquatic plants that occur naturally. They don't necessarily occur across the whole lake, but because it's a very shallow lake, it is very, very, full of plants, because light can reach it. The nitrates are pretty good in the lake, and it is just awesome for that. Oh my goodness, look who we have here. Oh gosh. Oh. Thank you so much, Alexander. Wow. Seriously. Thank you. I don't know what to say. Just thank you, Alexander. I really do appreciate it. And things have been tight around here lately with the back surgery. But thank you. I really appreciate that. The membership kind of goes to the fish room, and I was kind of scared that I was going to be dipping into it. So that really, thank you. That's very moving, and it is very helpful. So thanks. Okay, back to the stream. Thank you so much, though, buddy. Let's keep talking about the cool fish that exist here. Let me. Oh, nice! Trying to find autos. Just got back. Alexander, the Aquarium Zen had some marbled autocinclus that were really beautiful. I really like those. All right, so let me share. Share a screen. All right, here we go. And actually, Ivan Mikolji is one of the people on the big international contest that reviews like Inlay tanks. So here we have some tanks, but they're modeled after some of the pictures that you see that come out of the lake. So this is a vegetated margin of the lake. Over here, you can see these are more biotopes, but I think there were some actual pictures too of the actual lake. But the judges, nevertheless, they have judges from each region, and then they have judges. This is a little inaccurate. These are from a different region closer to Japan, these hydrocotyle verticillata, but there is something almost identical that does exist there. But this is very common, where you get a lot of debris up top, you get some stones, and then sand, mostly from the sandstone, and then clumps of dirt or soil that's been made and fallen to the bottom of the lake, and then sand. So there's like sand and soil and mulm all swirling around this lake. And you also get these very dark parts of the lake because of the mat of growth above. And people try to do some kind of cool aquascapes, but it's a very common aquascape because of the amazing diversity and choices of plants and elements to use there, from sticks to you name it. I mean, vegetation and sticks. It really is a very often copied template. But yeah, so Lake Inle, you get the idea. And if you guys recognize things like, you know, the erythromicron, that's only found there, and is only 2006 that it was really rediscovered. In 1908, they found it originally, found it by the Westerners found it, I should say, a European English ichthyologist. And things like the Burmese border loach. This is not one. This is was that the zebra, the striped loach? Let me pull up Burmese border loach. Here you go. So they look like the yo-yo loach kind of, but they're more speckled, and they're really cool. They happen on the Thai Burmese border, and they have barbels. But like most Myanmar, the barbels are pretty small, even for a loach. You've also got these little sand loaches. There's a lot of botillas and different little loaches that are found around there. There's also this, which is classically known as the Burmese border loach. Then there's the Kubota or Kobatai, however you want to say it, loach. These are all found in that greater region. Now, the lake itself has a few loaches also, and I'm going to show you those in my tank. I have a few, and what they're most known for are the red-tailed Lake Inlay loach. And these guys, I have these in my tank, and I did not expect the females to get as big as they get. They get very large, and the information online is a little bit deceptive about them. I want to make a good video on them. They're very interesting. The adults are very, very interesting. Obviously, you guys all know the CPD that comes from the lake in the region, but also there are some larger fish that are in the perch and carp family groups that come from the lake. And I'll get you guys a list and everything on the screen at some point. But again, you also get like Odessa barbs are exclusively from this region. Here's an okay picture of the red-tailed loach. They're actually way prettier than this. They're gold with like an emerald green undertone and like a silver to white, or opaline, I'd call it, belly. And this is a male there with the bright red tail, and then the females have speckled bodies with hardly any red. Actually, this is a this is a female with a lot of red for a female. The males have what looks like this. So, and it differs. As you can see, some species where there's a pair in pictures. Like that's the female here, and this is the male. But the ones I have, the male stayed very small, and the female's literally twice as big as the male in length, and then 3 or 4 times as big in weight, in bulk. Now, this is also Divario aro purpurensis, purpureus. Sorry, guys, not purpurensis. And this is the Lake Inlay Daniel, and it's very beautiful. If you were to think about a traditional leopard or zebra Daniel, well, that's the equivalent of what's in the lake. Regina, oh wow, you guys, you're way too kind. Let's see here. Regina, appreciate you and all your research you do because I'm not going to do it. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for the $20 super chat. That's so nice of you. And also, Chubby Guppy, thank you, Tim. Man, I really do appreciate it. I hope you are doing well. I need to check in. Have you posted your setup and stuff lately? I can't lie, I haven't been looking at a lot of videos unless somebody sends me something and says, here, look at this. I've really been doing a lot of research, doing 8 videos a week now. So if you guys are a member, you get 4 stories that have to do with new journal things that are going on essentially in the hobby. So I'm combing through all these journals and subscriptions I have now, and it's really I enjoy it. I love it. I mean, it's like being back in like, you know, post after my 4-year, it's like studying for the archaeology stuff again, and I just really like it. So the fact that I get to like research for, you know, 4 or 5 hours, find a topic or two that I like, record a video. I always go outside and do it in the spotlight at night. This whole month, you can go back and everybody can watch those. Now, I hate gatekeeping educational content, and that is why this whole month I let everybody see those videos and release them on Sunday night or Monday morning. And they're 4 episodes, somewhere between 3 and 10 minutes in length each, and they cover a different topic each time of whatever's new that week or in the last couple weeks. And it could be something like in this day in history. It could be something like they found a new species, and oh my gosh, I have to show you. This doesn't have to do with like Inlay, but if I can find it, I definitely have to share it with you guys because it is incredible new pencil fish that they discovered, if you guys didn't see it. Let's see here. So it was on Amazonas magazine. Amazonas. Let's see here. All right. And they posted it just today. But there is a company that goes out and, yep. All right. So I'll share this screen now. Whoa, holy cow. Thank you so very much, Laura. Thank you, Laura Sutton. Thank you. Wow, a $49.99 super sticker. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you. I mean, I don't ever expect it from y'all. You know, I don't. Okay, I lied a little bit. I do expect to get some super chats just for budgeting reasons, but I don't personally expect anybody, you know, I don't. I just, that's just, it really moves me when you guys do that. And I know to some people that $5 is just as big of a deal as 50. So I don't lose track of that. I mean, it all means a lot to me. So I appreciate it. But I actually had to cut back some of my subscriptions this month, and I was feeling really guilty about it. And I was like, I hope nobody feels guilty about my channel if they're tight on things for a month or whatever, you know. Never feel obligated like that. But in any case, Shade Aquatic, have you seen the black rice fish? Yes, I have. And Aquatic Arts is working on getting some. All right, so let me show you guys the new pencil fish that is unlike any wild fish I've ever seen before. But again, thank you guys for all the super chats. That's great. I mean, thank you all for being here, for hanging out and nerding out with me on this lake, because I dream about going to this lake someday. And yeah, so let's see here. So come on. I swear, since I got the paid version of StreamYard, it is more tricky to use because there's more features. So I just feel dumber than when I had the cheapo version, the free trial, or the like $20 version. But I bought the $50 version. So I should learn some of the capabilities of it. And yes. All right. So shut up, Alex. Show us the fish. So check this out. Aha, I blocked you guys. This is a new species of pencil fish. Is that not insane? Hold on. Is that not insane? I mean, and there's an article to go with it, I guess, but it's being exported from Peru as Nanosomus species super red Cenopia. And I mean, whoa. How did we miss that? I mean, it's solid red, and then black, and then a little bit of white, maybe another touch of white, gold on top, silvery gold. I mean, I need them now. I need them yesterday. Right? So, yeah, Rich Blatchford. Let's see. Does it say the name? I was reading about it earlier, and they had the person who discovered it. Okay, hold on, guys. Let me copy, paste, calculating. There we go. So there's another picture of it. But Aquarius Aqua Journey gives us our next look into this new amazing variety of pencilfish that has been introduced to the aquarium trade. So it says that there's a lot of speculation. A single specimen was photographed at a Peruvian exporter, Aquarium Shally Exotic Fish Ltd., showing only one fish raised eyebrows. Where was the group? Where were the females? Was it an aberrant fish or a large batch? Is it perhaps just an odd Nanostomus rubicaudatus? I can never say these things quickly. Caudatus, while somewhat disproven by numerous photos and videos, some were insistent that this is simply just Photoshop. But today, a private Hong Kong aquarist who goes by Aqua Journey shared multiple photos of the recently acquired super red Cenepa, which are starting to lend support to the hypothesis that this is a completely new species as they arrived in Hong Kong. So you better bet he's going to be spawning those. The images captured just hours after being purchased from an aquarium retailer in Hong Kong. The photos clearly depict multiple specimens showing distinctive coloration and uniform patterning, with only minimum variation you might expect between individuals of a population. More telling is the uniform difference from these fish and the Nanostomus rubrocaudatus, including the lack of any red pigment in the dorsal fin and a decided absent lateral stripe that is seen in similar species. 12 hours post-arrival, interesting changes had already occurred. I thought the fins should be colorless. However, as they settle in, I found the dorsal fins started showing white coloration. Pencil fishes are known for their ability to rapidly change color. If you guys saw my post, you know that they also can get patterns up and down and side to side. They can change night versus the day. And then later on, black pigmentation in the dorsal fin. Later after that, sport white highlights on all its fins except pectorals. I even see a little white highlight there, though. But white spots here, stripes, and then the center spot there. So it looks like we have a new species. And it's no surprise after talking to people who have spent years in the Orinoco and the Amazon and Uruguay, Paraguay, all the different sub-regions of that area. It is, there's so much we don't know, so much we haven't explored. Phil, welcome. I'm glad that you caught the stream tonight too. Vazaroth, welcome also. Let's see here. Yes, it's a new species of pencilfish, and it is getting the name super red for now, but that's not, that's not an accurate name of what it will be. Don Gallagher says, at the Secret History Living Your Aquarium, your charter and integrity really impressed me. Oh, character, probably. I will be supporting your channel. Most people would have caved to Joey just well. Oh, boy. Yeah, I won't get into any of that, but thank you. That's very nice of you. That was not the best situation, and we're all about learning here, and I'm not going to let people go on some, whether it's a conspiratorial rant or it's just false information. Even if I'm saying something false, wrong, or misspoken, whatever you want to call it, I mean, that's not what we're about here. We're about learning, and we're about lifting one another up and growing together, and everyone makes mistakes. That's fine. You own up to them and you move on, and we all learn together. You don't dig yourself deeper in the hole and try to cover it up or argue or get aggressive. And so, yeah. But let me show you guys more Lake Inlay species. I could pull up the Lake Inlay list, but I've looked at this Lake Inlay fish. I know the species so well by now that I can tell you this gourami, not in there. The Sabua resplendens, this is all over the lake and a great fish, Here's a decent picture of one of those red tail loaches, which hopefully we'll see soon in my own tank. When I feed them, usually they'll come out. And then we've got several danios, but the most well-known one is this one in the lake, which is also called the Inlay danio. But there's also a Shan danio, which is the name of the state or kind of territory. And then there's, these are very common. These carp, there are about 6 carp species. You can see there's a smaller one here. And then there's these bigger ones. They're like the jumping carps. They're like the Asian river carps. And that is what a lot of people live off of. Now, one bummer is that they've introduced a few of the tilapia into the lake as food fish in the 60s and 70s. That wasn't a good idea. They hunted other things. But oddly enough, they didn't do a ton of damage because they already had 8 carp and perch species that were pretty aggressive and ate a lot of eggs of other fish. So they already had these perch-like fish. So these are all these bigger fish are what they're eating there locally. They're not really in the aquarium trade. What is that? Oh, it's just a little earring. This is the fish I am searching for, and this is kind of my holy grail fish at the moment, and it is the Param bassis lala, which I think is an awesome name, first of all, Latin name. And this is the glass perch or micro perch. And again, all its organs are up in here and it's see-through. This is one that lives in Lake Inlay. And what's interesting is, like, why did it evolve that way? Why did this little perchlet need to evolve into a clear glassy fish? There's the Thai glass catfish and stuff, but it's not related to them whatsoever. It's convergent evolution. Now, the other one, the gourami that you will see from near there is the thick lip gourami. And these are really incredible. Aquarium Co-op had some of these the other day, and I was thinking about getting some, but they really do like a tannic tank, and they're really found in the bogs and areas on the margins of the lake. So there's that. Now, the other thing that's most well known for food is the Inlay carp, and this thing's a big fish. I think they get up to about 40 pounds max. And so this is another big fish that's used for food on the lake, and why the tilapia didn't end up devastating things as bad as they could have. Again, pretty small barbels compared to carp in other regions. So it's kind of an interesting little thing. Then there's these perch. But the other fish that I really love from the lake there, the rose barbs are really great. I'll just show you them in person because I've got some that look better than any of the photos I could find. They've settled in and they're happy in the tank I've got them in. Where did the other picture go that I was just looking for? So there are other, obviously there's the erythromicron, which is able to interbreed with the celestial pearl danio, the CPD, which, let's see, does this pop up when can you guys see this? And then the other fish that's in the lake that everybody probably knows is the Danio Chopra. And that is the glow light Danio, which I have some really incredible specimens just like this one that are just incredibly bright. The yellow shows up really well. They're the kind of going to be the color in my tank. So you guys will see it. I'm going to show you guys that tank soon. No information yet, Phil, on the Competes Act. It goes to committee to break down what's going to be in it on by the 6th of April is when they need to kind of like say what it is they want to add and not add. And they kind of have to redraft everything essentially, or form the committee that does that by the 6th. That's the latest I've heard. Really, there doesn't seem to be a lot of movement on it other than people saying, well, if it does go through, we'll make sure that they make a long list. US Scaper, hello and welcome. Good to see you also. So that kind of makes me nervous. Yes, there is also a walking catfish. There's also a croaking gourami nearby. And there is a walking perch too. There's also several species of glow light, or not glow light. That is a glow light. I just read the comment from Regina. And K-Day, hello. But there is also the awesome well, there's the other Danio there, the fire Danio, not the fire ring, but this one. This little reddish, rosy, almost orange or pink Danio that's found there. That's a pretty cool one. There's also the micro Rasbora rubescens, which is almost identical to the Axelrodi the blue ones that you see out of Borneo and in the Malay Peninsula in Indonesia. However, this is the farthest northern reach of that genus, and they're red up there, which I think is pretty cool. They're very pretty, especially when they spawn. They get much brighter, and I've had those before. I'm looking to get some more of those for the tank also right now. But the other one that I wanted to show you guys are their snakehead species. So Lake Inle, Chana. Chana is the local word for snakehead fish, but there is a species that's blue that is in the lake. And this one here, it says protecting its fry during feeding. Someone's raising this in captivity. And there's also the this is the gotcha, gotchua or gotchua is its name. There are some really different variations of this same fish. You can see some are basically silver or gray, and the blue is all in the fins. You get some reds, some yellows, almost look like giant licorice gouramis. Now, these are not legal anywhere in the U.S., unfortunately. They've been illegal for a long time now. And they probably, there's also rumors of, there's these collections like this where they've got fish in formaldehyde, and there's about 7 or 8 fish that were collected at the turn of the century from the outskirt regions that may either be extinct, or it could be that they are just in another little lake. Like the CPD literally was found in a tiny little lake, like 1.5 miles or 2 miles across, like a pond, basically. That was like very similar to this in the flood season. And it was kind of in a drainage basin. But underwater, it looks more like this, a tangle of reeds and other plants. Like this too. So yeah, I've got a list up, so I'm also just making sure I don't miss any of the really cool fish to show you guys. But Lake Inlay, there's also some other perch. The other thing, though, is people have released gambusia and guppies into their area. Pets, they seem to get released everywhere, just no matter what. I'm curious. I know there's no catfish in the lake, so I want to see what happens if we look up Inlay catfish. It'll probably just be Myanmar catfish. Actually, I'm impressed, Google. Google image, good job. The walking cat is the only catfish, and it's kind of a different class, but they can walk around on land and go in between bodies of water. So they're kind of a transient species. But again, that's nice. It doesn't pop up. This is another carp species. Oh, when I clicked on it, it messed it all up. But they look like a Pokemon carp or whatever, which is just funny to me. But they've got a very interesting fin for a carp. So there's the 8 carp species, and I think there's 3 or 4 perch species and 2 or 3 perchlets, including the glass one. And then there's the loaches. So Lake Inlay cyprinid. There's the Shanensis danio found in that reservoir just south of the actual natural lake. And what's questionable is how did it get there? And I was trying to find information on that, but there's also these fish here that are also, these are found in all the way over to Vietnam. But some of these ones, the ones with the really high fins, are these teleostay fish that are also found there. All right, so here you've got a breakdown of the groupings of fish in the lake. And the gray cichlidae would be, there is, I believe, like an Asian cichlid of some sort in there. This might even be it here. Yes. That's not right. Why is that labeled that way? I don't know what that is, honestly. I mean, it's like a peacock bass or something, hybrid maybe. I don't know. Maybe you guys know. But I keep finding these pictures out of Lake Inlay, and I think this is the species, because when I go look it up, I can never find the species by name when I look up the one that's a cichlid, other than the tilapia that are introduced, which is the other number. But look at the diversity of groups of fish. I mean, the orders or whatnot are just crazy. The different subgroupings of species. These aren't just the diversity of genus. These are like a level or two above that. But the Claridae, let's look that up. I don't know what all that encompasses there, actually. Claridae. Okay, so that includes all these little, the little rummy nose guys too, I guess. Is that just another breakdown of within cyprinid or something? Oh, but they do have some Anabantidae species too. So that's and there also are a few books and online books and old books. If you expand your search to just outside of Lake Inlay, like the lake itself here, and you go literally like right over in here, it opens up a whole new world of fish. And if you go from where Lake Inlay is right here over to this area, over the next set of hills that are about 500 meters tall, so 1,500 feet above them. Oh, and by the way, this whole lake is at around 3,000 feet in elevation. So if I forgot to mention that, but another interesting tidbit about this lake. And because it's at elevation within the tropics, its temperature stays very, very stable. The water temperature stays somewhere between 68 and 74 almost year round in the lake itself. The streams surrounding the lake can get pretty warm in the summer, though. But that's the rundown of the most common fish you'll see in the hobby. Now, there are some other little odds and ends fish. And then when you get nearby, you start getting into all the Kubota rasboras and the all the different little rasboras and danios that are found throughout Southeast Asia. There's like 40 of the little guys, the little rasboras in the area. But it was argued over whether these were a danio or a rasbora for a long time. Whoa, Meep, thank you so much, man. Wow, you guys just keep hitting it out of the park today. Holy cow. Wow. Thank you so much, you guys. Wow. It always means a lot to me, but I'm just going to say it means a lot. It means even more this month, so thank you so much. What do we say, you guys ready to look at my my tank and my aquascape and the plants? We'll look at some plants that are native to the region. Oh, you catch snakeheads locally on the East Coast. Nice. Usually, isn't it the northern snakehead that's there? Does anyone know the legality of collecting fish from other countries and shipping them back to the U.S.? You need a permit there, and you need a permit to import into the U.S., and they have to be legally importable. So right now, it's actually pretty easy. It just costs something like $300 or $400 total to do the formality of it. And that's if you fill it out yourself. If you hire a transshipper, it gets considerably more expensive. But yeah, you can totally do that, especially in developing nations. I don't want to say they're corrupt, but they're really corrupt. And you can pay people off to get anything out of a lot of countries. So there's a lot of lotus and tiger lilies and things like that that are found in the lake there. Hold on, I'm pulling up the next stage of our journey, guys. Get my little tripod izzle that can hook up to a gimbal, but I need to buy a new battery for the actual gimbal thing. And then we're gonna turn around the camera. Okay, and then we're going to call this Alex 2 so I don't confuse myself. We're going to enter studio and hopefully... All right. Hopefully that's not too loud. Triple J, what's up? Hey, Fish Fam, can't stay tonight, but hitting that thumbs up on the way out. Well, thank you so much. And Kenny, hello. I just saw Kenny from Danikin Aquatics at my house the other day. So fancy that. He came and we went all around the Seattle area. We went to Aquarium Co-op and Aquarium Zen. We're gonna go see Jason, but we never heard back from him. Are you guys hearing an echo? Can you guys hear okay and everything? See okay, hear okay. This is the new tank, the newest of my tanks, I should say. And I actually need to get a little net. I have some erythromicron, or one erythromicron in here. Look at these Danios. These are a real pure line that was brought from the Czech Republic, from Jason, redfish, bluefish, and they are just an incredibly colorful Danio. Love them to pieces. Let's see if I can catch this guy. They are notoriously tricky to catch. But I do speak erythromicron. I have raised these fish many, many, many times now. And go into your basket. Sorry, guys. All right. I got him. So I'm actually quarantining these erythromicrons. So they're going to be over here, but let me show you them. I know we just saw a picture of them, but they're a great species. It's just they have a wasting disease that they've somehow acquired, similar to live bear wasting disease, and they have it in captivity a lot. And the farms have really, really bad genetics. So when I got home yesterday and I bought 6 of them and they looked fine at the store, when I got them home, I realized that they needed to be set aside, at least from the other Daniels. They're in here with the other barbs and the little gold tetras that were in there. And just a side note, all those cool little shrimp, the wild Caradinas from Southeast Asia, they're all hanging out in here, still doing good, except for mama shrimp died today, that had all her eggs eaten by planaria. She finally succumbed. And so I moved those glow light Danios out of this tank. My chocolate gouramis, I believe, have my chocolate gouramis, I believe, over here. This guy right here has babies in his mouth pouch, I think. So tonight I'm going to move them, even though they'll be in there for a while. But the other male was dead. and he has a full mouth pouch of babies. They're mouth brooders. They lay eggs like up in this area, um, and then they mouth brood after that. Um, and then they let them go and they let them forage up above. They're kind of unusual in that way. But okay, I got the last erythromicron out of there. They're going to come back, but after they get treated and after I'm sure that it's not going to spread anything to my other fish. So these Danios, beautiful, right? I mean, they're so beautiful. I can't imagine how good they look probably in the wild right there, caught on the spot. So I'm going to feed this tank and hopefully you'll see the Inlay loach, the red-tailed Inlay loach. And just a little bit of flake food. I'm not feeding a whole lot of frozen food or anything yet in this tank. And the other thing, let me turn this down a bit. It seems like it's going a little extreme, the CO2. But we've got lotus pods to float in here, as well as other things like immersed growth that you see in Inlay a lot. And this is the Bacopa colorata, and it has these beautiful blue flowers that'll come out of it. Right now, you can see some starting to pop out again, right up in there. So Bacopa grown immersed is just fabulous. Love it. And let me get them knowing that there's some food in here. So let's talk about the formation. I didn't actually get chunks of limestone. So I thought that would be way too chaotic for an aquarium. So instead, I got quartz and jadeite that is similar color. They do have jade in that region and in the hills. However, that basin is more limestone of Lake Inle. And so, yeah, it's thanks, Kenny. He says the tank is amazing. The camera doesn't do it justice. I like to think that as well. The other plant that shouldn't be in here, there's a bulbitis, and there is also dwarf baby tears. Those and the Monte Carlo are not natives, but I wanted to see if I could get a carpet, and I can if I want to keep trimming it. But I think in the end, what's actually going to happen is that I think I'm going to grow the hair grass as the dominant carpet. So we've got cypress health fry, and we've got dwarf and mini dwarf hair grass, also called spike rush. That's found all over Lake Inle. Then we also have the Rotala Annie, Rotala Bangladesh, and Rotala indica mini red butterfly, which is actually a human strain. And then this is what is it, 26-gallon tank, rimless. It's a weird size. And I don't know why they're all bunched up over here, but the algae phase has commenced in this tank. We just kind of scare everybody out of the corner. Let's see if we can kind of get people. I'm calling my fish people now. I'm spending too much time in the fish tank room. But check out the colors I'm getting with this new light. Actually, this light isn't up all the way if we're seeing those weird bands. There we go. So you got the Danios. The real cool thing, and just when Kenny was here the other day, they were roaming all over the place. They were doing their thing all over this tank. And today, they're being big old scaredy cats. There's 20 CPDs in there. I don't know why they're all hiding. So also in here, we have the Spiralis red and red tiger, found throughout the Indian subcontinent. We also have so here's a little rosy loach, and I love these guys. This is the female right here, and they're clear. The females are clear, whereas the males are bright orange and pinkish colors, kind of a champagne color. And I'm trying to find you guys a male. But the females are cool too. And the really neat thing is uh, they act really similar to like gobies in that they can sit on their pectoral fins and bend. So they sit on top of the rocks and on top of the sticks, and they just kind of like perch there. And they also do this kind of hovering swimming that a lot of the fish in the lake do. So we've got the Chopra, we've got they're hiding in the algae because they feel safe. And this is also where they've been laying eggs, the CPDs. So I'm trying to get them to come out and enjoy the party with everybody else. And here comes some loaches too. So we've got them, and then we've got I'm looking to get some Sabwa resplendens, some more rummy nose. There's a nice looking male. If he'll come forward, let's see if I can scare him forward a bit. They're playing over here in the side tank, the males. And again, this stage of the tank, I need to make a video. There's a female rosy loach, but I need to make another video to just kind of show off, like, hey, no shame in my game. Here comes a male. Well, there he goes. Any case, so no shame in my game. This is what happens with a high tech, as an ADA soil, and CO2, heavy CO2, very high light, 6,000 lumens in a shallow tank. So yeah, I mean, algae is going to happen, and that's what's happening now. What I find interesting is this lotus pod gets in the way of the filter, totally chills all movement across the surface. Bizarre. I move it out of the way or pull it out of the water even, and all of a sudden there's like surface movement that begins to spread out again. And I think what happened was they weren't digging into CO2 levels today. I might have gotten a little out of hand. But let's look for the Inlay red-tailed loaches that are in here. And there's also a little micro crab species in the lake. And that is not in the hobby yet, but there is quite a bit of speculation and hype about if and when it will be in the hobby. Where are the red tails? They might be hiding down in here in the back wall of Rotala, which obviously is growing algae with such fine leaves and everything right up at the top there. But let me knock them out. So you can see how much all the plants are bubbling up. But just like Lake Inlay, I've added some crushed coral, which is to replicate the limestone. And beyond that, then there's oh, here comes the red tailed Inlay loach. There's a female. And she's got a way redder tail than any of the pictures online. Look at her go. So pretty. But she's a good sized fish. She's as long as my finger. And she's hanging out under there. Big old belly full of eggs. And there are 2 females and 2 males in this tank right now of them. Females are huge. The males are smaller, and they're like I said, I scared them out of the shrubbery. They're usually hanging out under there and up here. I don't know what gives why no one's eating or doing anything normal, but there you have it. That is the lake side, or I don't know what to call it, but the marginal lake and swamp region. There's another one of the carp over there. I think at first I was thinking that this tank is too small for a border loach, a Burmese border loach. But now that I see that those red tail loaches get just as big, and they seem to do fine, I might put one in. I'll probably test it up here first with all the other what are they called? Borneo and Aru Island, the gouramis and the rainbow fish and pseudomagills and all the gobies. Again, I was trying to show you guys off the males that have both males that are left have pouches full in their throat, which would usually indicate babies puffed up. And then the female was rainbow colored. So that's a good sign that she was spawning. Also, the Stiphodon bird song eye, they were spawning the other night, and I made a short. But they were spawning as well as there's a Borneo loach. They were spawning alongside the other ones that are the neon gold Stiphodon. And so, believe it or not, there's actually still 12 Stiphodon in here, which is what I started with. So, and then over here, the tank that I haven't shown you guys in a little bit, the Stiphodon, the cobalt Stiphodons, they're also spawning right now, which I just thought was kind of cool and I should share with you. My baby pencil fish that I have combined with the adults again, they're growing super fast now that they're with the adults, and so they're doing really well. Hey Kenny, thank you so much for that super chat, brother. I really appreciate that. That's killer. You really don't need to do that. You drove me all over town and then spent gas money and all your time with me, and then you're gonna drop me a super chat, huh? I don't know where the Acara Lata Guiensis is. Oh, here he is. He's a big old boy, and he is beautiful, super beautiful. Let me see if we can get him to come forward. Right now, he's all colored up. Finally, after weeks, 2, 3 weeks of being here, he's finally colored up, and it's to impress the lady, of course. Get out of the way, pencil fish. Lady's over there. But the lady's not much to look at color wise. He is. I'm gonna bring him forward if I can. Where did he go? I don't know. You know, this Sawasser tang sometimes it drives me nuts. I know it makes the fish feel comfortable, but somehow I can lose a 4-inch fish in a 20 long because of it. Did he go over here? I really wanted to show you guys his colors. He's bright blue and yellow and all these other colors right now. I see him. I sees him. Here we go. Come on, buddy. I know this isn't like Inlay stuff, by the way. He's all colorful for spawning. So I wanted to share it if I could get him to come into the light. But he does not want to at all, and I'm just making a mess of the tank. But we'll try one more time to scare him out. He's going to the ground. Okay. Well, I'll get pictures, guys. He's blue and yellow, which is just kind of an unusual color combo in fish. Blue, yellow, and purple. And about the size of an Acara, of like an electric blue Acara or something like that. But doing well. Getting ready for tubbing season soon is the next big thing. Yeah, I mean, this tank, like I said, with all this Sawasser tang and all the red root floaters and all the lilies, I just gave Kenny and Danny the baby of this version of this, which is the Nymphea minutia. So it's yellow and red and orange and greens, but it stays very small. Oh, and then, you know, this tank's still doing well. The black water or lac water, as I was calling it when we were building it, the macrostomas are getting big. They're almost 3 inches now, 2.5, 2.75 inches, some of the two bigger ones.
And so they're going to need a new tank soon. They're going to start eating everything in sight. I mean, they're already eating like a few too many of the shrimp. Also, lots of babies in the Turkana jewel cichlid tank. There's Daddy, and lots of babies. I mean, I took a still frame picture, and there were over 103 that I could count in the photo. So they're doing good. I mean, I assume. And then we've got these babies who grew up 6 months ago from Daddy, and they're about to get their red. Right now, they've got their blue and metallic shimmers, but they're about to turn into little psychos. So I need to get the 20 of them out of there. And these babies are growing slow but surely. Kenny says, he said, "Do you want a plant?" And 20 minutes later, I have a giant bag of plants. It was awesome. Well, you come to my house, you come to my house, and you treat me like this, you're going to get a bag of plants. Okay. Um, so also, this guy's doing better than it was when it was out in the hall. Why are they all? This is so weird. All these fish are hanging out in the far left end of the tank. The other thing, not another. The other thing that I wanted to show off was I paid $10 for one stem, but it is a Lindernia. Let me see if I can get a hold of it. Come on, Lindernia variegated was its name, and it's got like little stripes that look like a watermelon. So I cut it into thirds, killed. I'm pretty sure that's gonna die. It's melting so bad it's gonna die. There's another little piece right here, and it doesn't seem to be doing that great either. But the one piece is maybe gonna make it, and they have it growing immersed at Aquarium Zen, and it is awesome looking. I'll have to upload some photos of it. It looks just like Bacopa, but it has neon yellow lines, or white, really, lines through the leaves, but same exact formation, size, stalk density, and everything. And he had an importer send it to him on accident, one pot of it, and he's selling it for $10 a stem now that he's grown it out. But whatever. I'm wondering if all these fish do like shade, and so I'm kind of wondering if they want a little more privacy for a few hours of the day, uh, and if that shade will make them feel a little bit better. So I'm going to turn off the light there for a minute, but um, everything else is doing well in the fish room. Everybody else is happy and fine, other than we lost the one gourami to a fight now that they're pregnant. Um, now that the dads are holding, I guess would be the right term. But everybody else, other than that, is doing well. Other than um, I had another long fin that I was going to give to Alyssa Bentley. Long fin albino pleco that got into a fight so loud it was twisting and turning and rumbling, and it actually ripped plants out in this corner. You can see where it did a number, but it was two males, the long fin and the short fin, got into a tussle, and the long fin was so much lighter body weight, total body weight, than the short fin, and the short fin stabbed him in the side like 3 times. There were puncture wounds that were bleeding out into the tank, and I lost him. That was really kind of traumatic. I'd never seen plecos fight to the death like right before my eyes like that. It was really crazy. So uh Lindernia rotundifolia variegated, you pay $10, they ripped you off. It's usually sells for much less, $2 a stem. No, I know. I just have never seen it here. Like literally, I can never get it here. And I know they rip me off. I mean, I shouldn't say that he always rips you off, but frequently it's a rip off for what plants there. But Seattle is always this weird ecosystem that kind of stays on its own and doesn't get the same stuff as the rest of the country. If John is watching, his plant, his potted plant he gave me, is doing well. It's huge now. It's a Salvia divinorum that he gave me. So it's doing fine. And many of you watching may know what that is, but yeah. But heck, Rigel, if you can get that for $2 a stem, man, maybe I should send you some money and see if you can send me some, because what else do you have out there? There's certain things we do have out here that just are common because of hobbyists. Also, this is something I've never seen before. I thought that this was just the Potamogeton gayi growing out, which looks like this normally. It's got a gold line in the middle of each leaf, and then the leaves are bronze or whatever color depending on the light. But I thought that it was growing out, and what turns out to have happened is this is the Aponogeton crispus starting, which just dumbfounds me. Like, I dug up the seed in the other tank because I had like 5 or 6 of them happening all throughout the tanks. And so I don't know what that's about, because it's supposed to be blood red. So I don't know if some of the seeds are just bummers that don't work, they're just duds, or what the deal is, or if it's some sort of hybrid thing and they only got some of the, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just making things up. But yeah, kind of crazy. So there's that. And then you guys, I feel like we covered a lot of the species of Lake Inlay, and there are 58 species total, but we covered all the endemics. So the ones that are completely unique to the lake. We got those marked off and looked at on our list, so to speak. So, do you guys have any other questions, concerns, wants, needs? Is there anything I can help anybody with, possibly, or anything anybody wants to bring up before we end this 1st of April? And so generous. You guys have been so generous in this stream. I seriously can't tell you how much it means to me, especially just right now. I don't want to be a downer and depressing and mope around about medical stuff, but I'm on the hook for about $6,000 more than I thought I was last week, even. So I'm fighting it. Hopefully that won't be the case, but in the meantime, it is. So yeah, let's see here. To grab Alex's attention, yes, please just type at the secret history. Even if you say at Alex, it usually helps. That female betta looks identical to the one that I have in a community tank. Yeah, I need to get a mate. Let's see here. Oh yeah, Kenny, you said I've seen Botia do that with their knives. They're brutal. Yes, and actually, you know, the other thing is I've seen Pandagara just maul each other. I mean, ram each other in the gills to the point that they're bleeding out of the gills. Really brutal. When the two males are trying to decide who's the dominant one in the tank, they can be really violent. In fact, I uploaded a video maybe 4 years ago now, 3 years ago, of them fighting for dominance, and there were like 8 of them in a 40 breeder, and after that none of them ever fought again. They never bugged any other fish, but literally I put a bag of middle-aged ones in with a bag, or in with 3 adults that I had gotten at an auction also, and I like combined them from one tank and one bag from the store, so they're all together, and it was just chaos. You need to move them slowly, introduce them to one another slowly. They are real aggressive. So I don't see too many questions. I don't see any questions because I'm using StreamYard right now on the phone. But wow, Mrigel, man, crazy quick with, you got the Gara sparring video link in the chat already. I don't know how you can do that. Our Stiphodons, let's see here. Are Stiphodons prone to anything? I had 2 die in a mystery problem tank. So that's a great question. Stiphodons, or Stiphodons, however you want to say it, They get wasting disease. I have like the biggest cut on my nose, and it's driving me insane. Just seeing it on the screen. But yeah, Stiphodons have a way of a wasting disease, and nobody that I've talked to, including Dan's fish. Hold on, guys. I'm just carrying my headphones and my drink, so I'm gonna be kind of shaky for a sec. Hold on, sorry. Okay, so there are um there are you'll see is they just get pencil thin until they die, and they just keep losing weight even if you deworm them, deparasite, antibiotics, anything I've tried. And it seems to be, maybe my guess, total guess here, maybe gut bacteria, because what I've noticed is it happens in the tanks where I've treated them with antibiotics, gram negative. And so I'm wondering if I'm killing off something they use to digest all of that, what do you call it? Bio, not probiotics necessarily, gut biome. So yeah. So that could be it. And they can get worms, but it's more than likely just this weird thing that happens, and it might be a lack of a certain nutrients. It might be the gut biome thing. We don't know. But the sad thing is they only live 2 or 3 years max anyways. So once they're in freshwater again, once they've swum back from sea. So really, if you've had them a year or two and then that happens, it's hard to say if that's not just them dying of old age also. Because if they're wild caught, which they all are right now, who's to say how old they were when they were found? They try to get them when they're small, but that doesn't verify anything other than that maybe they didn't have nutrients. You've had Oscars, you've had to separate with the stick meat. Yeah, I understand that. Let's see here. Yeah, Myrgel has a computer hooked to his brain. I agree. Wait, well, I just dosed Canaflex for the fin rot. Huh. Well, if they already have an issue, I wouldn't sweat it. Maybe you'll find the cure. Who knows? Right? Let's see here. So the Yeti says, I have 8 stone cats. Those are the anchor cats, also, if people are curious. And 10 white clouds, 1 betta, 1 wild wild neos in a well-planted 20 tall. Do you think I could add to my catfish group? Yes. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, stone cats stay at the bottom. Their bioload is very small. They're going to eat algae, waste, debris, leftover fish food. In fact, it may be a good way to clean up after your white cloud minnows. You know, that's the thing about a lake inlay tank is there's not the shrimp populations other than one, and there's not the deepness in a lake that would break down stuff without causing ammonia spikes and things. And the pH is so high that ammonia becomes a lot more deadly quickly. So they don't have catfish. They don't have anything other than like the carp, really, and the loaches to eat that bottom layer of food. And so they're so critical in that ecosystem to keep things at a balance so that it doesn't just build up into a tower of mulm and chemical breaking down. Regina says, I love the long haircut. Well, thank you very much. Could you please tell my wife? No, I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding. She actually does want me to cut it, but I'm not going to cut it right away. So, Alex, do you remember those guppies I bought yesterday? What their names are? Those were golden double sword Japanese guppies, but they definitely have Endler in them. Gold double sword Japanese guppies. That's what they were. And they are essentially just the blue lyre tail guppies, which is this lyre tail, double sword tail. there's variations that get pretty, that overlap. It's kind of a Venn diagram. Those are each a thing, but a lot of them overlap. Armando, hey, hello from the deep South Texas. Well, howdy. That's where I got a lot of family, so hope you're doing well. Just sipping on a Coke, you know, a Dr. Pepper Coke. I hope you get that in that part of Texas. I don't know if they do that there too. But guys, I'm gonna wrap it up. And Kenny, I am drinking Dr. Pepper, actually. I'm drinking cherry Dr. Pepper. I'm back to it. The Mr. Pibb is no longer around in town, and the Dr. Pepper's back. Like, there was this famine of it. But as I sign off, seriously, thank you so very much for all the support from all of you guys, whether it's watching, whether it's commenting, moderating, asking awesome questions that lead me to think about new things and learn new things with you guys. I feel so lucky, and I'll say blessed because that's the best word for it. I don't literally mean like anointed by God or whatever, but I feel so fortunate and blessed to have such an incredible community here. And also, hey, SC just popped up at a great time because he had some science to throw down that was the correct thing, and I got some stuff mixed up. He straightened me out, and I appreciate that. If I mess something up, please correct me if you happen to know for sure that that's, or or have a source that says something's off, because I don't want to be giving out wrong info. And I will gladly admit when I screwed something up or misunderstood something. So thank you. But I'm gonna get out of here. My wife's back home from her workout, and it's the start of the weekend. Oh, cool. Is that sweet and sour chicken? Teriyaki chicken. Yeah. So I've got food, guys. Yay. But thank you so much for the generosity tonight. It was really above, in and beyond, and it just means a lot on top of all the other things you guys do as a community that mean a lot. So thank you to those of you who are going to watch this as a replay, to you guys who are going to watch this, right now and hang out with me. I've already, expressed how much you mean to me, members, non-members, mods, and yeah, I mean, super chatters obviously just blew me away tonight. Thank you so much, guys. And the new member, thank you so much. Just means a lot. Thank you. So I'm gonna get out of here, but yeah, Lucas Bretz is up now, and I'm gonna shut up and I'm gonna get out of here. And I appreciate all y'all. Have a great night. Take care. Bye.